Hello everybody here. This is Dude Lindler with Google Hangouts presentation. We got some about the same guys we had here last week, with just a follow-up to go a little bit further in the JMRI controls. And we got Alex from DCCTrains here. We got Barry's from Barry's Bench, and we got Mike Dittinger here. And we got a couple guests. If you have any questions, just type them in over there in the Q&A on the right-hand side, and we can get to them as soon as possible. The guys that are presenting today, they can see the questions as well. So anyways, I'll go ahead and hand it over to the boys. I think Barry will probably start it out, and they got some pretty good ideas tonight.
All right,
go
thanks,
ahead, Barry.
So the first thing we're going to do is just touch base real briefly on what we covered last week. We discussed an introduction to JMRI's Decoder Pro and went through showing people how to use it to basic program of an engine, how to use the throttle feature to control your trains, how to set up a connection to your layout with like a PR3 or such if you have ditch tracks or the NCE interface. Then showed a little brief introduction to using Y throttle with your cell phone or engine driver with your Android phone. So, and we talked about boosters and such like that as well, and we all had some questions about using a Sprog with JMRI and how to use a booster so that you use the Sprog as your layout control. So Alex has got a PDF file to show us of how to wire up the Sprog's S-Boost with a Sprog 3. So we'll go over that, and then once we do that, maybe answer some questions. Then we're going to do a brief introduction to PanelPro, which I showed very briefly just what it looks like last week. This week I want to actually see if I can go and show you guys how to build a very simple layout panel so we can set it up to have a loop of track and a siding with a turnout that we can control right from the console here. So whenever you're ready, Alex, you can pop up that file and we can go over the booster real quickly. So yeah, Alex has got well, I think it was the instructions from the actual website from the Sprog manufacturer. So let's bring him up here. Here we go. Your microphone is muted, Alex.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so guys, thank you, Barry. So guys thinking like, when they see it's on the website, it's no ruler around it. No, it's the same size as the Sprog. And it just says Sprog Boost. That's actual size, okay? So two quick plugs with huge, nice screw terminals, okay? And the other side has same thing here with the power already connected. And very important, you need to know where's the plus, where's the minus, and I'll show you in a couple of seconds why it's important. So it came with a very brief small paper showing you just basic, but I won't count on it. Usually I'm not even looking at the manuals. It's bad behavior. But since I was electronics all my life, so I'm usually not using. This time I download it and use it. So it came with power supply like this, 3 amps power supply, auto voltage control. So if you in a different area, not with the US plug, you just need the adapter, wall adapter, okay, for UK, Europe, Asia, whatever you living. So ready to go. Just need about $3 to $5 adapter. Don't go to travel store special. They will charge probably $15. Just go to electronics store or online. Okay. Now I think time. Also, I'm not going to, guys, overwhelm you today. There is feature of the auto reverse operation. I think it will be too much for today. I can talk briefly about it next time because it's again not really simple. Now I'm switching to my screen share, and I'm switching really quick to PDF file. Okay, I strongly recommend to download the manual before you even connect anything and start looking on examples. In this manual from 2 years ago, they're not showing how they connect that booster to different system. We're only talking about this booster on top connects to Sprog 3 or Sprog 2. So example 1 shows not recommended settings because you're using only one power supply, actually very high amperage power supply, 5 amps, and it's distributing power for 2 units. Okay, so you're pretty much not using your original power supply for sure for one power district. So it's not about economy, it like saves the money. It's proper connection to your layout. So this is not recommending system because if something happened with one insulated section, for example, of the power boost, it will affect signal from the Sprog, so it's not really working well. Second example is also not recommending. It's 2 different power supplies with I don't like to use common with the power supply, but that's how they're using that word. Also connecting to 2 power districts through different power supplies. Same thing like in this first diagram, it's not way to go. So we're going to next diagram, Sprog 3. That I personally not prefer. I'll show you what I prefer. Is this 2 different power supplies and a common through them. But we're going back to really quick to, doesn't matter right now. So if you have Sprog 2 or version 3, which has higher output to the layout, that's how you're connecting between your Sprog 2 or 3. Again, I'm just calling Sprog 2, for example, to power boost with a signal output and the power supply. So your power connection. So let's go to the diagram 4, my preferable diagram. Yes. So you have 2 original power supplies. If you're buying 2 boosts, okay, you're not using your, keeping just in case, you know, you're not using your original power supply came with the Sprog 3. But now you're getting signal distributing properly to the both power boosts and common black on the power connecting together, and you have 2 separate power districts. I will do special video about it with that connection, and probably example 3, which is I like the best also. So 1 power supply, like 5 amps, NC 515, 2 your boosts, and you have 2.5 each individual power districts. They're talking about, I'm pretty much wrapping up right now. They're talking about, maybe you have guys questions, I'll answer, but I'm wrapping up. They're talking about power management, like power districts using, they're not saying exactly what company, brand, you know, circuit breakers. I am personally not big fan of circuit breakers. I can show my pros or cons. I prefer multiple boosters. That's just my 10 cents. So I'll probably, if you have guys question about the diagrams, please.
No, that makes perfect sense to me. I like 4 though, like you said, because you have individual power supplies for each booster.
Okay.
And the ground common, which boosters need. So yeah, I mean that looks like it's quite expandable. But I mean, you could use example 3 because if you have a big enough power supply. I mean, I know people that do that with like a 20 amp DCCTrains supply. They put like 4 boosters on one of them, you know.
That's what I'm not happy about it. It's still, and especially like N-scale guy, and again, guys, it's just my personal opinion. I have a lot of experience. That's what I see. That's what I want to recommend. Getting different maybe power districts, but not definitely powering that 8 amp command station, whatever, DB200 from DCC. It's not designed. I think I'm repeating myself. I did, but just in case, I will repeat again. And new guys who is listening, and it will be recorded again, listening, please. You're not saving money. Just getting that 8 amps power supply. First, you need the exactly transformer to proper work, or like huge transformer. That's no money saved. That's just getting more, pushing yourself in more trouble. So yeah. 5 amps per district per individual booster, it's the best way to go. And especially adjusting triggering time when triggering absolutely current, and time. So when the engine hit something bad spot, you know, so it's not melted completely on your layout. Okay, I'm going out of my real quick of my stuff.
Well, thank you for that, Alex. That was pretty good.
You're welcome. And if I'm still right, it's an option as auto reverse operation. It's not really clear to me. They're not providing a lot of diagrams, so I will probably investigate more before I'm saying any words. But it looks like very solid. I like the power supply. It's heavy, so I like heavy stuff, old school.
Yeah, I'm very happy with my Sprog. I mean, like for testing and small layouts. I mean,
absolutely,
it's great. I mean, N-scale guys could run a whole layout of just the Sprog if you needed boosters.
Exactly.
But the key thing, you need JMRI to do it.
That's correct. So does the 3 Sprogs up the amperage? Can you? Is that you asking? No.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. So does
what basically with the Sprog set up the way you had them in the diagram, you had 3 of them hooked up, right?
No, it's one of the. Let's go back. Very important.
Yeah.
Let's go back, please.
Station.
Yeah, for the number 4 diagram that you have.
Okay, number 4 diagram. You see my cursor a little bit? Maybe not. It's white. Actually,
you're not screen sharing right now.
Yeah.
I'm not screen sharing yet?
No.
Uh-oh. I think I did. Okay, share.
There we go.
Okay. Can you see my cursor? I should.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm on the left with this unit, a little bit different color. Yes, that's your Sprog 3.
That's the command control right there.
Yeah. That's the command station. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, your command station is your computer.
Okay.
This only muscle, no brain at all.
Now with the boosters that you got connected, you got 2 of them. Does it up the amperage? Let's say if they're a 3.5 amp, would that make it a 7 amp?
No, it's 2.5 amp. The power supply is 3, but it takes a little bit juice to run the box. Okay, so you're getting output of 2.5 amps on every single section. Okay.
What I'm trying to get at is some of the questions I've asked is when you put multiple boosters around your layout, is that just to spread it out? I mean, would you put like a booster, let's say if you got a 100-foot layout, would you put a booster at each end and then 2 in the middle, or 1 at each end and 1 in the middle?
The booster, really? That's a good question.
Barry, I have an answer, but Barry, please go ahead.
Okay. The boosters are really to break up how much current you need in a given area.
Okay.
So if you're going to run 30 engines on your layout, Well, obviously you can't put one big 30 amp supply on there. So you break it up into districts of where you're going to have engines at. So like, say in your yard, maybe you need an 8 amp booster because you're going to run a lot of engines there. But on the main line, you might only power it by a 5 amp booster because you might only have a couple of engines running on it. So that's the whole point, is to manage the power, because otherwise you can run into problems where you get voltage drop across the long layout, so you break it up into districts for that as well. But it's mostly the power capacity of what you need, not so much a voltage drop, because that can be handled by larger wires, etc. But the power you need to run all of your locomotives is what you really need to know for breaking up your layout into power districts.
Okay.
That's absolutely correct. So you sitting with like piece of paper in your layout and creating kind of schedule and seeing how many engines will be particular, or like passengers said, with still maybe with the bulbs, which is drawing like crazy current. Of course, modern LEDs will be taking that away, but still you have like a couple of engine with the smoke generators running, it can be almost like an amp pulling very good heavy train behind them, so that's important. And maybe that your 100 feet main line, it will be two engines just crossing each other, and as Barry said, your staging area or kind of transition area will be completely busy, and you need to put like massive power there.
So does that make sense, dude?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good.
Cool.
So let me fire up my screen share here, and I'll show you guys what I've got going on for tonight's little presentation. So screen share. That. You guys see that now? PanelPro up there? So PanelPro, which I briefly introduced last week, is the interface in JMRI that's used to build layout control panels, CPC panels if you wish them. The first thing you want to look at on here is your tables of information that you want to read. So let's open that up. Some of this stuff has to be put in before you build your panel. One thing being your turnouts, which we'll do tonight. Then you might, if you're just doing a small layout, you might need just blocks and turnouts. If you're doing automation, signaling and stuff, you're going to need signal heads, masts, you're going to need sensors for block detection. But without turnouts and blocks, none of the above will work. So the first thing we want to do is define the layout we're going to do tonight. Is going to be an oval with a single spur siding. So we're going to need one turnout, so we'll go in here and add a turnout. And since my system's LocoNet, the default name of it will prefix with an L, because when you set up your system connection like I showed you last week, and you pick your command station or your interface, it puts a prefix letter in there in your configuration. And LocoNet happens to be L, NC is N. So for this turnout here, the system is going to be on LocoNet. I put in the hardware address, or I can click a range and say I want to add 5, and then put 1 in here, then I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just putting 1 in, so we'll put in turnout 1. That's the actual DCC address of your turnout decoder. Then a username, this is where you get to descriptively name your turnouts. So, like if you have a yard, you might have like yard 1, yard 2, yard 3 to describe your turnout locations, or you might have east end 1, west end 1. So in this case, we're going to do we'll just do S1 for spur 1. And now we have a turnout in our table. And see, this state here tells us whether it's thrown or not, so we can click it. And that is sending out a throw or close packet to this turnout, which in our description here was set up to be turnout 1. So here it's LT, turnout, and LocoNet, and the address is number 1. So now we'll do 2 blocks, one for the main line, and we'll do one for the spur. So system name, you can create your own system naming convention that you want. Usually, in this case, we'll just call it main. And then on here with the username, we'll call it mainline. And I'll type this at any time. There. And then here we go. Add that one. Then we'll go call it spur. And we got spur 1 saved. We're going to have 2. And then this we'll call, say, lumber mill. What we're having for business on that spur 1. So now we've entered information into our blocks and turnouts table, so we have enough information to go into the layout editor and actually lay some track down, put a turnout in that has enough intelligence for you to operate a DCC controlled turnout for our actual physical layout through whatever computer interface we have chosen, such as a local buffer, PR3, the NCE interface, the Sprog. So close that out, and we go to panels, and we'll start a new panel. In this case, we're going to pick the layout editor. Can everybody see all of that okay?
Yeah.
A little bit, almost on the shrink down there. So
Yeah.
here's all the different elements you can put in the background. You can put in different types of turnouts, and here you can type in the turnout name that's in your list. And you can put block name, whether it's an occupancy sensor, the type of tracker, is it a level grade crossing, is it a track segment, is it dashed, is it a mainline segment. Then you have various other things like end bumpers on a spur. An anchor point is strictly to use when you're clicking to line up other elements on the screen with it. And then we can put text labels, etc. So let's start with, we will put ourselves down, turnout. So we had, that's the thing, I always got to remember to keep my table open. Turnout S1 for spur 1. So now we'll go back to here, and we'll put S1 for the turnout name. It'll be left-hand turnout. Now you just hold the shift key down, click on click on the screen, and there's your turnout. Now if you see what I'm doing there, I click with the mouse. See, now it's thrown. You go to the table here, it's thrown. Turnouts. If I go thrown here, now it's closed. So they're interlinked. And at the same time, doing this here is sending the signal just like doing it from the table, sending the signal out to your track. So let's just put a couple track segments here. And let's give it a shift and click on here. One thing, it doesn't really have a grid. Been a while since I did this. What the heck is going on here? There we go. I got it up. So you hold the shift key down when you start your point. You click, drag it out. Then you let go of the mouse, it disappears. So hold shift, click, draw it out, let go of your shift key, and hit enter. Do another one. What is going on? Oh, that's why. Here's where you need to put an anchor point. Shift key, anchor point. Now I can go track segment, shift, and then shift, let go. There we go. Now I've added in that track segment. So another anchor point out here. Draw this track segment. This is really kind of takes some getting used to. And bumper. Just remember, every time you click something down, you have to be holding shift key when you click the screen. Okay. Now we can right click on that, go to edit, say, okay, that is main line, the block name, main line. See how that turns to a track, thicker track diagram. Same here, the same on this side. Mainline track and the block keys. Block names are needed for when you're doing detection and such, for use with logic. And this will be a side track, and its name is Per1. That's Per1 or mainline. And it really doesn't have the ability to draw a curve, so to complete the loop, what we'll do is we'll set out a few anchor points here. Just hold the shift key down and click on them. Drop them in like that. Then you can just go along track segments. On there, and you get the cross, just drop it. Keep holding the shift key down the whole time. You get the cross, drop it with your mouse. Left click again. Let go of the mouse button when you get across. Just keep it way across. There we go.
Hey Barry, while you're doing that, Mike Pfeiffer had a question. I know you guys are JMRI, but have a problem with turnouts throwing on the system startup with a DS64 and a Super Chief. Any ideas?
So the turnouts actually throw when he powers up his layout. Yeah, but I guess what I would need to know from Mike would be, does it happen when he starts JMRI or when he starts the Super Chief up? Because if it does it when he starts JMRI up, he probably has a startup script set that initializes his turnouts. Because when you build a layout like this in JMRI and PanelPro, when it comes up, it has no idea of what the state of your turnouts are unless your turnouts have feedback to JMRI. So there is a script you can run called init turnouts that will go through and throw all of your turnouts. That way they're all in a known state. It'll send a throw command to every one of them. then you can go to your panel and click them the way you want them, or write a custom script that's going to set turnouts how you want them at the start of your operating session.
Well, he just said yes.
Okay, so it's yes, meaning when you start up JMRI. Yeah, that's probably so there's probably a startup script in there. Let me see where that might be in PanelPro.
It says no JMR on system, no JMRI on the system.
Oh, okay. This is straight just when you're powered up. What do you think? You know, Mike or Alex? Why it might fire? Maybe when it fires and turnouts, when it turns on the power. I've never seen that happen. I know I have 4 DS64s on my layout that I use. Yeah, Alex, go ahead.
Okay. I keep my mic turned off. I try to.
Yes.
Just kidding. Okay.
Very nice.
What's exactly the question? No JMRI on the system. In the future, guys, I'm not complaining or anything. I try to, because I don't understand the question. No JMRI on the system, meaning the computer interface working, JMRI starting, it's communicating, not communicating, not communicating. So question is like wide open, meaning that's what I mean.
I think what he means, Alex, is that he doesn't have JMRI. It's just his Super Chief with DS64s. So he turns on the Super Chief with DS64s, flip the turnouts. I think that's what it is.
Gotcha. Okay, some friend probably create route control. Somehow. Yes, in the system somehow. When he went to the running session, or somebody came to his system, or he got the box with this is already programmed, whatever, but that's what's going on. Need a reset, restart, rebuild.
So you use an op switch reset on the Super Chief, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Then if it's not, then it will be a different story, but it looks like I need also in the future, guys, who's asking questions, history of the event, what's happening, it's very helpful.
Absolutely.
So, yes, Super Chief talks only to DS64.
Yes, and then when he when he turns on the Super Chief, the DX64s get thrown.
It's stored at command station somehow. Routes stored in command station. That's what I'm saying.
That's what it sounds
like looks to me. Yes. So how it's happened? It can happen accidentally. It can happen EMI. What's happened with me on layout? I was working. I touch off the subject. I keep my camera, and actually, I just put new video of the MTH Dreyfus engine, like New York Central Hudson. Anyway, so I'm keeping my camera next to layout. I'm touching my hand with to the track, and through the camera I got EMI. So almost probably 5 minutes of footage I killed with a buzz, kind of buzz of,
wow.
No kidding, 60 hertz or whatever frequency. What frequency we have here, 50 or 60? 50. 60. Okay, yes. So I got that through the hand. So in the future, guys, more history you're providing with that absolutely weird stuff happening with your, that helps a lot. I can give you like, we spend like 10 handouts. I will tell you the story. I probably start writing them. Actually, when I'm on the camera right now, dude, it's for you especially. Okay, guys, please don't get me wrong. I'm promoting anything, or no way. I'll switch to the. I'm showing everything, only stuff helping you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm checking the DCCTrains Toolbox app right now to see if there could be anything that's causing it to happen.
It may be. It may be some logic in the DigiTrax just in case. So reset everything, connect again, and start over. Then, okay.
The other thing too, we could check on the Super Chief, on the 8 amp Super Chief, from run or PR/ops, which enables for auto reversing. So maybe that's what it's seeing too. So there's a mode switch somewhere on your command station, Mike. So make sure it's set to run. Wow. Check to see if the mode switch is set to run or not. If it's not set to run, it may not. It may cause your problem.
That's one thing. Second thing, is this like happened yesterday or it just happened? Again, history happened with everything. Like one time, guy brought his throttle, another guy brought his computer with something. Who knows what they're doing? Bingo! Everything start messing up. That will help a lot. Again, that's how it's happened. It's very important. Then answer will be kind of narrowed down.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Any other information? Actually, Mike, if you want to reach out to me, yeah, go right ahead. And that way we can try and figure it out. Because I mean, you might want to even do. I don't know if there's an op switch reset for the Super Chief or not, like there is on the Zephyr, but that would clear all your settings out. So maybe that's it. But also, there sounds like there's a physical mode switch somewhere on there. If it's not set to run, it's designed to be an auto reverse. So it may sense a short somewhere and try and flip a turnout.
Mm-hmm.
So check that as well.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. That's good point. Okay, backing to power district stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, for you especially. Are you guys familiar with the ramp meter?
I am for sure, yeah.
Absolutely, yes. That's what helps you. If you don't want to calculate anything, you just measure your current through that thing on the different sections of your layout, and that's it. The bottom reading, that's your amperage. So you're connecting in a series, in and out, and tells you the voltage. Voltage, not big deal. That will be nice to know too. It's like, oh, 10 volts, and then your boosters start getting like a oven, you know, because the low voltage, high amperage, you know, and boom, transformer blows. Like, why? Because of that.
One simple law: watts equals volts times amps. 10 watts, no matter whether it's 1 volt at 10 amps or 10 amps at 1 volt, it's still 10 watts.
Exactly. So, and that thing will melt your locomotives too, especially N-scale guys. Listen carefully.
Yeah, the nice thing with the ramp meter is you can touch those contacts right to its section of track.
Right.
It'll tell you how much current's being drawn, just like that. But also, like Alex said, you can mount it in line with the feed in a particular block. You know, a power district, I should say. Should not say block, because that's really DC. So.
Power district, that's correct. Yeah. So say it's again, you're not buying like 10 of them. You're buying one. Just figure out what's going on. And if you have huge layout, you can put them. The less expensive version has no that fancy plate. You know, you just route the thingy, the screen, you know, and stick it in the panel. You know, like here. Bingo.
Oh, I did not know there was one of them.
Yeah. This one. This is almost like $80, but without fascia and without that thing, I don't have it here with me at the store. Yes, so the less expensive one, not all that things, just like 2 terminals. You plugging in and screwing. I will probably solder them. No, I definitely solder them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, and that's it, man. That, I don't know. It's like a gauge for your tires. I don't know. It's like a ruler. You know, you're measuring everything properly to keep you out of trouble.
Yep. All right, so let's get back to our layout editor here. Screen sharing. Our screen. There we go. So again, here's our crooked-looking layout. So we can select a section of track. I don't think I can shift and select these. So you got to do them one at a time. There we go. You have to actually pick in that circle. So this here tells you basically how it's set right now. And edit is where you go to change it. So we'll just and make these all main lines. And let's copy and paste that. And to mainline track. Right click, edit, go this way. You can actually, when you put it in here, if I was smart, I would have put the block name in here. And that way, when I put them in, it would automatically, I'll show you, move this segment. Just leave the anchor points behind. So we'll put the main line in here, track segment, and then just shift the let's see, block main line. Okay, here we go. Something else I didn't see. Show you. Make sure you check for the mainline track. Check mainline as well. That's what makes it into a mainline or star track. There we go. Like I said, it's been a while since I drew one of these. Get my feet back under me. I mean, there's a way to turn on a grid and everything so that it looks a little nicer. But the drawing tools are a little on the crude side in here. But you can come up with some nice stuff if you just take your time at it. So here you can show the grid. You can snap to the grid, so which I didn't do, but there's your grid. Then you can snap the objects to a grid when you're moving and drawing. So it makes it a little bit easier that way. So let me turn that grid off. So now we can throw our turnout here, and that would actually control. And you would see the changes in the turnout table. Let's see if I can get this one going. See the turnout table change. See change of throw, close, throw, close. And that's if you open up a LocoNet slot monitor, you'll see. I think I can open up one of them PanelPro. LocoNet monitor. There we go. Put that over there. See? Sending LocoNet commands out. So that's a way you can. I don't know if you can do that with NCE, but I know you can do it with LocoNet. It actually lets you see if proper commands are being sent out. You can actually manually type in, if you know what they are, you can actually manually type in a command and send it. But this is great, so you can start logging here and then run through problems and save the log and send it off to JMRI for troubleshooting, etc. So has anybody got any questions so far?
I don't see any.
Okay, it's been kind of quiet here tonight. So, how about any of the guys in the panel here? Does anybody have any,
I do.
What's that?
Well, there's 3 different versions of that ramp meter. It's like version 3 is probably the best, right, or the most up to date.
I'm not sure. What do you say, hey, Alex? Dave, right there, is there a newer version over the V2?
That's version 2, and then yeah, there's a version 3, and I don't know what the difference would be. There's a version 1 too, actually.
Parameter. Let's see. V3. Slow tonight. Let's hang out activity. Let's see. It looks like the one Alex has here. I don't know what's that different about it.
See that on my screen, I've got the 3 versions here, and I don't know. They're cheaper in price as they go down, but it seems that they all do the same thing.
Oh, this one here measures DC, DCC, and AC 3 rail.
Oh, 3 rail. That's version what?
That was version 3. Yeah, they all say the same thing. The version 1 is the one without the enclosure, and version 2 is the and also version 3 has a battery backup for voltage readings below 7 volts. So it probably uses the battery to power itself, whereas version 2, if the track voltage is not high enough, it won't work. Then there's a version 4, which has battery backup, but it's designed for high current applications. Let's see what the current specs in that one. That can go up to 20 amps.
20 amps.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's for G-scale guys.
So, what would you suggest I get as far as my N scale?
Well, any 1, 2, or 3. I mean, if you're going to use a portable, probably a 3 would be better than 2, because that way, if you do have a section with low track voltage, it'll still work because it works from the battery. If you want to mount it in a panel, get the V1, because that's got an exposed circuit board, so you don't want to be holding that in your hand. So you want the enclosure on that if you're going to use it in a portable fashion. You put across your tracks to check your amperage and stuff there and voltage. If you want to mount it in the panel and leave it as a permanent thing there, just get the V1. And you'll save a little bit of money getting the V1 too.
So, if I'm too low a voltage, then it won't work. Then I'll know something's wrong, right? That I need a booster.
Well, you could have a wiring problem where you could have a short drawing the current down, or the voltage down, or you have, enough current going through a small wire that'll cause a voltage drop too. So it is, I guess it's good to kind of know, but that's why it's good to have version 3 with the battery, because then you can still get accurate readings without, the power and the meter coming from the track. So
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. See, the one without the enclosure is mainly really meant for like that one. That's meant for mounting in a panel. You don't want to hold that by your hand, because eventually you can static shop some of the components, But if you really need to save money, you could use that. Just be careful about using it. Make sure you static discharge yourself before. That one's really meant for panel mounting, you know.
Right.
So, anybody else got any questions going on tonight? Is there anything else you want to see? Your mic's muted, dude.
What about Mike? Is he still around? Mike.
Yeah, I think Alex disappeared somewhere.
Alex is here.
Ah, there we go.
I'm patiently listening.
So, do you have anything to add to our parade here tonight, Mike? Anything in JMRI specific you want to add?
Nah, Barry, I think you're doing a pretty good job. Putting me out of business tonight, dude.
Well, have you ever used PanelPro?
No, I never really played with it, I'll be honest with you.
Well, now you know enough to get yourself dangerously dirty.
Yeah, really, dude. I just need more switches. I only have one switch in my layout right now.
That's all right. Now you only have one switch in my diagram I drew tonight, but see, now you can practice drawing a diagram for the Temple of the Iron Horse.
So with PanelPro, is there a place to put registry for rolling stock in there or anything?
No, that's in the operations module. Which
And
I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get to touch on that because I really don't know that much about it. I mean, if I can get a chance during the week to read up on it, maybe next week we can talk about it a little bit. But that's where your operations side. So that's where you inventory. It gets your locomotive inventory from your roster, but then it has its own inventory of rolling stock and locations and what needs to go where and the status of everything. Like, is this car full? Is this car empty? Does business X need a full car? Is it sending out a full car or receiving an empty car, or is it receiving a loaded car of supplies to manufacture something? So you put all that kind of detail in there, and then it can generate switch lists for you saying, oh yeah, I need 3 boxcars at warehouse X, and there'll be 3 empties to pull away when you get there. So you know, first job is pick up your empties, set out your fulls, and you can get pretty complicated. You can use intermediate spur tracks for staging cars and everything like that. You know, it's like there's a lot involved in it. But for a small layout, it can be fairly easy to set up too. There's some pretty good videos out there on how to do operations in JMRI. What I probably would want to do next week, I think, is I'm going to do some reading this week and talk briefly about signaling. So, you know, what we should do just for next week is promote the fact that we're going to be talking about signaling with JMRI. That might get some people's interest. So I know there's a few people out there that keep asking about it. I've been trying to learn more about it because I want to learn it myself, and plus, I know I'm trying to help Taki with planning his out. So, I can at least approach it from this is what you would do in a Digitrax environment, which it's funny, but most of it applies to NCE too, because NCE has no native signaling components. So most people with NCE get a loco buffer interface and set up. You can set up dual connections in JMRI, so you'll have your NCE computer interface to your command station and a loco buffer interface to a loco net, which then all your Digitrax signaling components plug into that. Actually, what I can do is show you guys that. If you go into preferences here, just to make sure my microphone. Oops. Preferences. Yeah, so you see here I have my
LocoNet simulator setup, which, by the way, when you're building a panel, if you're doing Digitrax, always set it up with a LocoNet simulator. That way, if you open this up in a PanelPro with a regular PR3 connection or local buffer, it'll work just fine. But you can go in here and add a secondary connection. So with NCE, you set this up for NCE and add a secondary connection with a local buffer to be your signaling controls. So any system that has a, doesn't have its own native signaling components, you can do that with. You can set up your native one here and set up a signal system as a secondary connection, which you don't have to do that with Digitrax because it all talks LocoNet. But I mean, I could run a separate signal system with NCE or MRC or anybody else through here. So we'll touch on the basics of that next week. I think that'll give me a chance to maybe look at some diagrams and stuff like that, and put together a little presentation of all the components and stuff. So. That's Q&A here. Well, I mean, I don't think if anybody else doesn't have any questions or anything else they want to add, maybe we can close out a little early tonight, unless anybody else has something they want to ask.
I do, but it doesn't really have. I guess it might have a little to do with DCC, but I was just going to ask if anybody's familiar with those bullfrog turnout controls that Fast Tracks makes.
I've never used one of them. Have you ever used them, Alex? The bullfrog turnout controls? Yeah, they're the manual turnout control system.
You're muted.
Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I try to just keep me out of. Okay, Blue Point? No.
Bullfrog.
Bullfrog. Somebody send me a link real quick. I might see it, maybe not.
They're from Fast Tracks.
Oh no, I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay.
So those just solenoids for turnout control?
They're manual.
Oh, they're manual. Wow. So
Yeah.
probably very fancy, schmancy, very probably very good. Our guys using those ground throws, perfect. Okay. Barry, thank you. Oh, no. Oh, I thought somebody putting picture of it.
I'm going to try and pull up Fast Tracks here. For some reason.
The funny part today, I'm not changing really subject. JMRI.org was down today. I'm not sure it's still down.
Oh, I know. I was trying to download the latest version.
Yeah, exactly. And like the guy just came to our shop, started doing it literally a couple of weeks ago, and tried to. It's like I just started using it. What's going on? Like, chill out, my man. Chill out. It will be back. Fast Track. Okay.
Yeah, really.
Just curiosity. Yeah.
There it is, right there. See it?
Oh, you got it up on the screen, Dave?
Who did it? Dave. Dave. Oh, yeah. I thought it will be fancy schmancy.
Yeah, but it's only $7.
It's not bad. The ground floor, like $5.
There's what it comes with.
Yeah, it has the rod mount is basically a wire and sleeve system that is the same as what's used by servo mechanisms in like remote control aircraft for like push rods.
Right.
But it's flexible, so you can kind of mount the turn on at an angle but have the control in your fascia, so you can just push and pull it.
Yes.
And it also has a micro switch for doing frog power routing.
That's great. That's
you can do $7,
man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see if you want to do manual controls, Dave. I don't see how you could go wrong with that. It's inexpensive as the devil. Think about it. A tortoise alone is $18 list price.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty nice. I don't know. What do you think, Mike? Should we use something like that for the Bath and Hammondsport?
No way, dude. Yeah, we got to use servos.
We're using Tam Valley, I know.
Come
Here,
on.
We're
Here, I'll
big.
show you the servo.
Servos, yes, servos.
We're big Tam Valley fans, Alex.
Let's see. There you go. You see the servo? Ah, good. I got to know how to run my camera. There you go.
There
it
you
is.
go.
Yes, servo.
Here
Yes.
It worked really nice. Yeah, after Mike started showing me them, I switched our whole club layout over to servos.
Exactly. I have a story real quick. Any models, like I got them 2000 and before big guys. I dealing with them, so and a bunch of guys coming like, well, what's the deal? What again? Russian and other tricks and stuff. I said, guys, this is you just try, you know, for one time, and yeah, but we still like 50 with the Servo ESU. Actually, we're pushing a lot, and still with Sprog, tortoises. They great, especially contact built in, perfect for power routing.
So what's the servo cost?
What do you think, Mike? They're about $20-some a turnout.
$2.
Yeah, they're a little bit cheaper than doing a tortoise with a DCC controller, because the Tam Valley system.
My setup right here has you can use it with the push button on the control panel. You can use DCC to throw it, and that's with a like a $10 board. Servo's $2. You can't beat it.
Yeah, I mean you can get pretty inexpensive doing a DCC setup like that, because when I bought them for our club, I ordered servos off of eBay, and they were like $3 a piece. They were 9-gram micro servos, and then like Mike said, the quad board, the non-Loconet one, is like $38 in like 1 to 4 piece quantity, so it's less than $10 a turnout. The fascia controllers, if you assemble them yourself, which is like a connector, an LED, or 2 LEDs and a push button, they're $2 a piece. So you got 2, 10, 3, so you're up to $15, and then it's like $4 for the wood bracket to mount it, and you're ready to go. They have a board that's a little bit more money than the quad pick controller. It's called Quad LN, which has a Loconet jack, so it can report turnout status back to JMRI over Loconet. So when I do my layout, I'm probably going to use the Quad LNs, even though it's a little more money than the quad pick or the quad turnout board. But I think it'd be better to have the feedback, because otherwise you have to have feedback through some kind of signal system to tell you the status of your turnout. So,
what's the sound like on the servos versus the tortoises? Can you hear them differently?
about the same, would you say, Mike? Yeah, they're not loud at all.
They're really quiet, and you know it all depends on where you mount it. I mounted my servo above the track level. I mean, ideally you mount them underneath the layout, and they're just quiet as can be. The other thing is with the Tam Valley board, you can configure them to go as slow or as fast as you want. You know,
Yeah,
so I would say they're a tortoise equivalent.
but they're actually cheaper, because by the time you say you get a tortoise for $15, but then you still have to spend $20 for a DCC decoder board for it. You know, so you at best it's going to cost you $20-30 to DCC control a tortoise, and you can get it for under $20 with the Tam Valley system. And the more pieces you buy, the piece prices go down. You know, so.
And the servos also look to be a lot smaller. For those of us doing multi-deck layouts, that density under the layout is probably the most appealing reason for me to move that direction.
They're maybe 1.5 inches, max 2 inches deep. So they're about
Half the size.
half the size of a tortoise. The footprint's about the same,
Sure.
but the vertical footprint's about half. So you're right. If you want to use like a 1x3 deep module frame, it'll be hidden up inside there. And the really nice thing with them is all the interconnections in the Tam Valley system use standard 3-wire servo harnesses, like you use for RC planes. So is that what you got there, Sven?
This is one of those small ones. It's actually fairly large. You can get them even smaller than this.
Yeah, that's twice the
If I
size.
compare this to my finger.
Sure.
Yeah, that's about the size of ones we use. Is that a 9G servo?
Yeah, I think something like that. It's
Yeah, that's what we
Simprog
use.
CS100.
Yeah, and they're nice and small, as you can see. They make smaller ones, but they really don't have the horsepower to throw a turnout.
Well, and that was my concern with the smaller ones, is would they have enough point pressure to hold fixed point hand like turnout?
The 9-gram ones most certainly do, because the wood bracket, it mounts so that the arm goes horizontal like this, and then the base plate has a fulcrum point, and you run the wire from your horn through the fulcrum point, and it gives you, it's fairly heavy duty piano wire, like 30 thousandths piano wire, so it's tough to bend. And then you just bend it. I bend it through and loop it into the horn so it doesn't come out. And then it has double face tape on the wood bracket. You just peel that off, line it up, stick it in place, mark and drill your 2 holes, and set your screws, and it's done. And then, like I said, I bought all standard 3-color servo bulk wire and pins and connector bodies in a crimper, and did all my own harnesses.
It looks like Chris is going to show us a little bit what he's done. Looks like it.
Oh, see what he's got there. Oh, that's them.
Nice.
Yeah, he's done his own brackets, but yeah, that's what the harness wiring looks like. Nice and simple. Yeah, see, he even made his own homemade brackets there.
Very nice.
Yeah, so
Now
go ahead, dude.
you could put those like on a remote. Let's say the turnout is in over a beam or something. Couldn't you take that and make some kind of like a cantilever lever style where you could run a cable from that and remote it somewhere else? I've seen guys do that too.
Yeah, you can do that, or else you can even use pieces probably of that blue point system, because they're a servo push rod system. So they have like a flexible tube and wire that you can put with belt crank linkages, and you could use that with these because it came from RC servo controls for aircraft.
Yeah.
So you mount your servos in your body, but you might have the tube with the push rod going out to a crank lever for an aileron on your wing, you know. But yeah, you can do these like these fairly inexpensively. I mean, the whole nice thing I like with the Tam Valley system is the laser cut board brackets. You can buy them assembled or unassembled, and they save a few bucks that way. But the servo mounts over 2 screws mounted to your layout. Then the board has got all the controls on it, so you can program and set your endpoints, plug it into your DCC system, and send a switch throw command that sets the 4 adjacent addresses. But I mean, you can save money on the brackets right there. Doing what he did, probably saved him $4 a turnout. You know, the one thing I like with Tam Valley is their controls. They have a little tiny board. It has 2 LEDs on it and a push button. And when you push a button, it fires off the turnout, and the LEDs flash back and forth until the turnout's thrown.
Like this, Barry.
Yeah, there you go. There's Mike's layout there. See what Mike has on his.
Going all right.
Yeah, see, there's a little push button in the middle there. Yeah, hold your camera still, boy.
Ah, dude, I'm trying to get this.
You
I'm used to running cameras. There.
Yeah, so you just push the little button and the LEDs switch back and forth like that.
You can actually configure all sorts of different effects too. You can have them go red, yellow, green.
Yeah,
blink.
depending on which ones you buy, you have them blink back and forth. I mean, it's a nice little system, and the buttons are nice and tiny. You know, so you're not going to bang into them walking down the hallway. They even sell a little square piece that has a recessed disc that you can mount them in, so you can recess them into your fascia so they're completely out of your way. I mean, you could use the thing is you have to use them with their board, but their board system works very well. I mean, Duncan's a great person to deal with. He's helped us out on a few occasions when I needed to get stuff right away. Yeah, there's your size comparison.
There
Andy.
you go. Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, thing's huge.
I mean, you know, why? I mean, besides the cost factor, it's not any more of a hassle to use a tortoise. Tortoises are a well-known thing. A lot of accessories to make them work. But it's all pieces you got to buy from different vendors, you know. I mean,
And that's a huge consideration.
I mean, you could replace 3 servos if they go bad for the cost of 1 tortoise, you know, if not more.
More.
I
Well,
mean,
the nice thing about the servo is the only thing that would go bad would be the plastic gears that are in it, and you can buy kits for those.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure, you can probably buy a bag of those for a couple $.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Servo, you don't need to buy parts.
yeah,
Yeah,
literally, it's just you just undo 2 screws. The servo comes out of the wood bracket, and then you take the horn off it, put it on a new servo, stick it back under your layout, bolt it in place, and then you can re-gear the servo that you just took out. And even Chris here, he's got 1 screw. He pulls that little plate off. That was probably a pretty smart idea. You know, another
adjust it with a little bit of angle left or right.
Yeah, I mean, the way you did that there, Chris, is if you mounted the servo on the other side, on its back, you could drill a tiny hole through your plate that could act as a fulcrum point too.
Yeah.
And that's all it did with the Tam Valley bracket. It sits on the bottom where your hand is there, and the top of the bracket holds on where the 2 mounting screws are, and then so the horn is facing down, you know, from the plate, and the plate acts like a fulcrum, like on the side of the tortoise there. That works pretty good, actually. I mean, you are all yours servos now, Chris?
I've got 8 that I've started. I went and bought the Octopus from Tam Valley that controls 8 servos.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, you talk about cheap. That I think it's $40 if you pay it full MSRP, and then for another $20 you can add a decoder to it. There's a decoder for all 8 servos. So $60 plus $2 a piece for the servos. You know, you're in for about $100 for 8 turnouts.
Yeah, that's a lot cheaper than tortoises.
So that's why I stood it on end, because if you look at the shaft comes out of the servo,
that's how you do
up
it.
at the top there.
Yeah.
So by standing it on end, I can just aim it right up, and this still clears the bottom of the layout.
Right.
I just run my wing straight up off of that rod.
Okay.
Chris, question please, Alex. What kind of glue is this? With panel and a servo you mount.
And what kind of
double tape?
Go ahead, Chris. There. Yeah, we want to see Alex want to know what kind of glue you used.
Yeah, I think our connection is going bad here. I use hot melt glue.
First, I put a piece of double stick tape, and then I put hot melt glue along the side to keep it from rocking side to side.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. It's a good idea, Chris.
And I think he still can take it apart, so it's not really melted the surface, the plastic. Well, usually
Right,
Right. If you really tried, you could pull it apart, salvage the servo for something else if you ever wanted to.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at $2 a piece, I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah. I mean,
For
out
the
of all
$20
the ones,
tortoise.
the other ones I bought off of China, off of eBay, man, I only had one bad one out of the whole bunch ever. So, I mean, you save so much money, and then you might have a bad one or two things here and there, but how much money you saved is still really good compared to you go to an RC car store, a 9-gram micro servo like that's going to hit you $15. Like I said, you can buy the high-tech clones for like $3-4 or less on eBay.
Yeah. Well, there's a RC shop that I used to buy my airplane parts from, and they usually have them for $2-3 a piece.
Wow.
So here's just going to show you guys some different ideas for. These are all the different servo horns you get with it. So you could really come up with any amount of different ways you wanted to mount this and run a linkage. There's tons of linkage parts available at any RC shop. There's rods and tubes and bell cranks and all kinds of different ways, that you can. Really, it's up to you, your imagination, how you want to run it. You can mount them remotely. You can mount them right under the turnout like I do. You can put them all in one place and run a cable through a tube, a flexible cable. There's so many different options.
Yeah, that's like you can get to hard-to-reach places and mount the servo remotely that way. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but you can also, with the Tam Valley board, use these for semaphore control as well.
Yeah, and there's also relay daughter boards you can do, so you can do all sorts of stuff. But you can actually piggyback relays on each switch. So you can do stuff like interlocks, or you can do, like Barry said, do semaphores.
Yeah, I mean, I use the relay daughter boards in our layout. Oh, I see how you did that now, Chris.
Yeah, sir.
That's actually really simple.
Wait for this.
I like that.
Night, everybody.
Good night there, Dave.
Night.
Now,
buddy.
Now I see how you mounted it that way. That makes sense now. So that directly pushes your points back and forth.
Yeah, there's no leverage or anything. It's just the direct, just like a tortoise would be, but you don't need the fulcrum point.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea, man. Yeah, those relay daughter boards Mike mentioned is really nice because the Strasbourg of our club models, the line side signals are strictly based on point position. It's to indicate to the engineer whether he has a clear or a foul turnout. So we just set the, we don't show the red condition, but the green is set for closed route and yellow is set for diverging route. And we just use the relay board and then plug one of the little accessory relays in, then wire that to the power feed for the line side lights, and it works great. But you can use it to do frog polarity and everything. You can power your frogs through the relay daughter board as well. And that way you don't even need a frog juicer. You just let the relay and the turnout do it.
Yeah,
so that whole system. Yeah, some of them I don't think they're add-ons to everything. Some of the boards you don't need the relay daughter board. They actually, I'm trying to forget how much they are, but they sell a single unit that's all in one. It's got the decoder board, bracket, the servo, and everything. It's called a switch right. And I actually put 2 of them in one place because it was all isolated from everything else, and it would have cost me way more to buy a quad board and all the extra parts to do just 2 turnouts. So I didn't want to have to run wires here and there and everywhere, so I just decided to, buy the switch rights for those couple of spots, and it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, the switch rights, $30 servo, the absence of a frog juicer, all assembled and everything. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I forget if that has a relay in it or not. I don't think it does.
But it does have the decoder component. Yeah,
yes.
It says everything for DCC.
So it's a little bit more money because you're buying it from them all assembled and everything. So
Sure.
you pay a lot less than that for buying the boards and the brackets and servos and stuff, because they charge you like $7 or $8 a servo, which is still reasonable compared to what you get them for from an RC supply place. But eBay is the way to go for servos, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never. I mean, not that I don't like tortoises. They're very robust and they're very well known and very popular. But I picked up a box of 12 of them for like $50 one time. I don't think I'm ever going to use them. I may end up selling them. Probably get my money back. Just because I'm going to, or else I'll sell them and use the money to go buy Tam Valley stuff for my layout.
Well, and the size is affecting me considerably because I'm trying to get the density and to get the bits work as shallow as possible. The size of a tortoise, all money aside, the size of it is affecting the layout design. So this servo, of course, they're cheaper, but it seems like a win-win. And
oh, sure. You got a really dense yard ladder. You could space all the turnouts off to the side of the yard and run servo linkages in with the push rods, and you don't even have to use a bell crank linkage. You can use those push rods you can get from Fast Tracks to use for the Blue Point, and they're just flexible, and they would work fine. Just anchor the cable at each end, and then you connect one end of the push rod to the turnout and the other end to your servo, and boom,
And for staging, it's really easy. Whereas I found laying out the tortoises in my staging, they were really going to affect being able to get access to the staging tracks, just being able to reach over those. But you can lay these servos, you can drop them down, almost to track level. They're visible, but it's a staging yard, so who cares?
Yeah, I mean, do like Mike did there. Yeah, literally, you can just you don't even have to have a bracket for them. You can cut a hole in like your homosode surface or your foam surface, put a piece of double-face tape down in the hole, drop it right in there, and then hook up your linkage straight to your turnout,
And direct drive the turnout as well, not having to have any pivot points or any other complexity. Direct drive them.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I after having seen the servos, I had never looked back at any other product unless I was doing a manual thing, like a ground throw or a Blue Point control. Other than that, I would not do anything with servos. I mean, I like the idea of having it.
Even at this price, if I wanted to go manual, I may not go to DC. If I were to do manual, I may not have the DCC control, etc. But I think I would put the servos so that I didn't have to touch the layout or have all that stuff, and then just put the controls on the front face of the station.
Sure.
All these valleys have that, where you can put the buttons right there up front.
I mean, you can buy those control board kits for $2 a pop, unassembled. And if you're interested in any of my YouTube channel, I did a whole video series on the Tam Valley stuff where I installed it in our club modules.
And I think I watched some of those, and I think I had found Tam Valley, and I'd already looked at some of these. And I think I had watched your videos on these a little bit, and I've watched some stuff on the servos before. I think I was afraid of the sound of it. Years ago, the servos that I had messed with in the RC world seemed to be a lot louder than what tortoises are. I mean, tortoises make some noise, but...
Yeah. Well, it really depends upon the pulse width, right, Mike? I mean...
But also, the amount of throw is so little as opposed to on your airplane. I know what you're talking about. On an aileron, you go a long way with your throw, and it can make some noise. But the throw is so short on here, it doesn't even have time to make noise. If you mount it like I did, it just barely moves and it made the throw. You know?
Yeah. I'll talk to you later, Mr. Graham.
Oh, that's nice, dude. You are a rock star, Barry.
I try, my friend. I try. I try to help my fellow model railroaders, man. This is, it's been so much fun sharing with everybody. So, gotta love Big Bill.
I posted up a little name in the chat box, Heads Up RC. That's where I buy my servos. They're right here in the U.S. and they only charge $2 shipping no matter how much you order, unless you order a big airplane kit or something. But that's where I've been buying my stuff for years for airplanes, and where I got $1.95, I think, a piece for the servos.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cheaper than eBay, man. I have to check that place out.
And it's coming from the U.S.
There you go.
I mean, I'm sure he gets them from China, obviously, but you don't have to worry about them getting lost in transit from China because they're being shipped from Florida.
Yeah.
But
some of that stuff I've had problems with, like, not problems, but things take a long time to come in from China, you know?
Yeah, sometimes they come faster than you ever expect, and other times you don't see them for a long time.
Servos and accessories. Let's see, by size. Sub-micro, micro, mini. So they're considered, 9 grams are considered micro servo. No, they're 17 grams. Wow, that's big. I want to.
Yeah, they got them listed under sub-micro, but it even says, the one I bought was Power Up. It's like their house brand, if you will. But it's just a relabeled, you know, Chinese servo like anything else. But
yeah. There's an Emax one for $3.95.
Yeah, there's all different price ranges. You can pay a lot or a little, and you know, I think it just depends on what you're looking for in quality.
Oh yeah, there's Metal Gear one that's $30. You know.
Yeah, but that's metal gears, not the plastic gears. So that's what's cool about that.
That's if you're flying an RC jet, you might need to worry about that. But
yeah,
if you're flying a turnout, I don't think you need to.
No, not at all. Now here you go. There's a Tower Pro 9 gram SG90 submicro servo, $2.60. I couldn't begin to touch it. There's one for $2.45. And it looks like they're using the Futaba wiring, so it's probably an offshoot of Futaba. Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually, when it comes to the leads, there's actually 2 different kinds. There's the ones that have the yellow, brown, red.
Yeah.
And then there's, let me grab a sample.
Yeah, it was a white lead in it, right?
White, red, and black.
Yeah, that's high tech. And then yellow, brown, and red is Futaba.
Yeah, so basically red's the same in both. And yellow equals white, and brown equals red. Or black, sorry, brown equals black.
But they can actually, with a slight modification, in some cases, you know, like in this case, they both went together.
Right.
But the difference is, and I don't know if you'll see it on this camera, but inside the female end of these, there's an extra little lug on there.
Yeah.
That's like a key. So you can only put it in the right direction. Whereas on these, it doesn't have that. So you could actually install it upside down if you want. Or actually, they have little beveled corners on the side to prevent that. But they're literally pretty much interchangeable.
Oh, yeah.
The difference is if you use the male, you have to just slice off the key that's built on the side of this. There's a key that you just file or cut off with your knife, and then it'll plug right in to, you know, make it totally interchangeable.
Yeah.
You really don't have to worry too much about On
They
the
are
Tam
simple.
Valley. Tam Valley came with this on the fascia controllers, the red, white, and black one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But then my servos came with these, so in order to get an extension for my push buttons, I needed to get the red, white, and black ones. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a Futaba style extension.
yeah,
Yeah, the nice thing is if you
And
don't
if the
want
servo has
go
if the
ahead.
servo has the wrong polarity or the wires are in a different order than the extension, you can pull those little metal pieces out of
Yeah.
the plastic part and just change the position and push them back in.
Yep, there's a little black tab in there. You pick up with the tip of your
Yeah,
X-Acto blade, pull the pin
those
out.
tabs can be pulled up.
See, I've been using those style connectors in electronics for 30 years. They're Berg style 10th inch header pins. They're common as all hell. You can get them anywhere. I actually went to Servos and stuff, I think it was, Chris, and I ordered bulk cable, bulk pins, and a crimp tool, and the bodies. And they both use the male housings, and then to make the female body, you put male pins and then a shroud over it, and then the other side has the female pins that's on the end of your cable there. Nice and easy to do. Works great. I would definitely recommend them to anybody. Uh-oh, looks like Mikey's nuclear reactor car is going to blow. Uh-oh, it's going to blow up in there. Wait, we have to send out that bus bar and get it made, Mikey.
You get drawn up?
Yeah, remember I drew it up when we were up in Amherst. That's the
Oh,
only thing
okay.
I left. I got to draw up the wine barrel.
Oh, okay.
Then, when your Me 3D gets in, we'll print them.
All right, sounds like a plan, dude.
So did you actually order it?
Nah, I'm going to order it probably this week. I
Oh,
still
that was
have to go with that Kent dude, see if he can get me another code.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. Do you have his business card?
I think I do. If not,
If
I'll
not,
give you
let me know. I got him. So, yeah, Mikey's buying a 3D printer, and I'm going to buy a Cricut Explorer so we can play around making stuff.
Yeah, dude. More nuclear energy.
Yeah, that's the original one from Lionel. I actually drew that in Autodesk Inventor in 3D, and Mike had them printed at Shapeways. We just got to figure out what we want to do with the lettering. Probably do decals. That thing will sit. Yeah, we should take one of those files over to headquarters. Have Ryan print it for us.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, when we were in Amherst, we took the 3D printing clinics and stuff, and it was pretty interesting. Definitely a whole new side of the hobby, designing all your own parts, you know.
So do we have any other questions? I'm not seeing any.
Yeah. That's a shame. Q&A. No, there's nothing in Q&A, so. Yeah, Mikey D's here, Bill.
Where else would it be?
He's not with me, Bill, but he's out in his house, and I'm sitting in my comfy living room.
So the next show, what are you guys going to discuss on the next one on next Tuesday?
I think what we'll do is I'm going to bone up someone, and you too, Mikey, bone up on signaling systems.
Sounds like fun, yeah.
Yeah, and that's all controlled by JMRI, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, you can do central traffic control where the dispatcher sets your signal conditions, or absolute block control where it's all automated, you know. So, and the thing is with JMRI, the logic for ABS is built into it already, so you don't have to write a lot of scripts or anything like that. But if you want to use central traffic control, it's already there. You just got to tell it to manually do it, you know, with the controls and stuff on a panel. So, I mean, I made one of my panels I built for the club, I set a couple signal heads, and I just tied them to the toggle position of the turnout. So when the turnout threw the signal indication on the panel through, realistically, that input would come from a feedback from a turnout controller or signal controller and tell JMRI to change a panel. I just tied it to the actual name of the turnout, but instead of using a turnout icon, I used a signal icon, so the aspect would flip whenever I flipped the turnout name. It was tied to it. Yeah, so in that one panel here, let's see, I'll show you that real quick. On this panel here, you right click on that, you see that's turnout S1. I just assigned that name to the signal head I put in, and then, or I put a turnout in, I'm sorry, I put another turnout in with the same name, but instead of using the turnout icon, I changed the icon to use a actual signal head on the panel. So you can't do that here, but you can do it on like one of the CTC panels. There's got to be another way to do it on here, but I just haven't investigated how to do that yet. So yeah, I'll bone up on it. You bone up on it, Mikey. And I don't know if Alex, if you know anything about DCC signaling systems or not. You know, but I think that's what we'll talk about next week.
Yes, I'm. Unfortunately, I'm in European world.
Yeah.
My layout is German and Austrian, so it's completely different. That's what you see, pencil layout. It's just my customer, one of my big customer layout.
That's right up Sven's alley.
Yeah, Sven would like to hear all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm using Railroad and Co.
Oh, all right, okay. Well, that's a good perspective to hear.
Visman signaling system means signals actually, and multiple different accessories. Actually, Visman has their own, so it's a little bit different. So you guys probably, I'd like to show you something, but again.
Oh, sure, definitely. Because if we're going to touch base on signals, we might as well.
Just for knowledge, yes. It's to compare different stuff, yes.
Yeah, so I'll grab together some notes on a basic signal system and put together a little quick presentation, and then you know, we can maybe go through showing where you set some stuff up in JMRI, because it's definitely something I need to learn, because I have some people that are looking to do it, and they want my help, and plus I want to learn it for myself. Because that way I'm going to put it on a DCC demonstration layout and muck it all up before I build my real layout and figure out I wired it all wrong and the crap ain't going to work.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Chris,
what type of servo are you buying?
Yeah, he was talking. There you go, JD. It's what they call a 9-gram micro servo or sub-micro. But the gram is the amount of force.
Little bitty guys.
Yeah.
And 9 gram is pretty standard. You know, you'll find those all over, like the Tower Pro 9 gram. SG9 is a common designation for it.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the heads-up site right now.
Yeah, these are the Power Up 9 gram micro, is what it says on the switch.
Yeah, they were under $3, man. That's amazing.
I think they had them on sale when I bought them for $1.99.
Yeah, they're $25 now.
Which still is a heck of a deal.
This is the Power Up 90 sub-micro servos.
Yeah, they had it listed under sub-micro, but it says micro on the label. I don't know why that is.
I'll show you guys next time my small setup with ESU servos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that'd be cool.
And all their own accessory decoders. I didn't find anything. Team Digital kind of halfway, but too complicated. My personal opinion.
Oh, okay.
That means, yeah, the electronics for it. It's like 10 years ago, so everything under very weird combination of CVs. When you adjust, once you adjust it, it's good. But when doing it, it's really you need to play with a lot. With ESU, it's a couple of pushing buttons and done. Literally like 10 minutes after glue cure, you know.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'd definitely like to see that because, I mean, I'm looking at what the best system will be to use.
I have a couple of videos of ANE models, A-N-E, like A-N-E models, servos on my YouTube's probably like 4 or 5 years ago. It was beginning, yes, and it was good. I still have display working, I don't know, like a couple of years, pretty much 24/7 under Zimo command control station. So Zimo recording all my strokes, what I'm doing with it, okay?
Oh,
and
wow.
then I just play it. Yes, you don't want a price, but yeah, you can do the same thing with computer control, but this is just, it's like recording, you know, like in Railroad and Co. also a recording button. So I record everything and play, and I forgot to turn it off for like long weekend, and we closed the store. Coming back, it's crossing gates. Yes, definitely, guys, look at my channel and type like ENE model, ENE models. I think it's model. Yeah, you will see it's very cute signal. I have crossing gates and small like switch control, turnout control. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
It's very cool. Cool.
Yeah, so we'll touch base on all that stuff next week, dude. So when you put up the post about it, mention that we're going to be touching on JMRI and signaling.
Okay, I will.
That way, at least that way, that way people know more on a more focused point what the topic's going to be about. So,
okay.
So next Tuesday we'll wrap all this up with a pretty red bow for everybody.
Okay, for good night. Very nice German locomotive here.
Yes.
Yeah, the good old V200.
There you go.
Yeah, it was funny. Me and Mike's the president of our club. When I first met him, before we came up with this crazy idea to do this monstrosity of a layout, he had a 7 by 17 foot G-scale layout in his garage. It was all the Swiss railways. So he had all the big crocodile locomotives running under wire and everything. It was something to see. Those locomotives were big monsters. But I used to like that. I only have one piece of G-scale, and it's a Bud RDC from Aristocrat. And it's all aluminum. I could kill someone with that thing.
Well, okay. Then I guess that's going to be a wrap-up for this show, huh?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Good.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on and doing the presentations, and I want to thank everybody for the questions and coming and viewing our number 3 recorded Hangout presentation. Everybody don't forget about the Thursday night. That's an open topic, just anything to do with model railroading. And until then, we'll see you next Tuesday.
All right, dude.
All right, guys. Thank you. Sven,